Hey everybody, it's me. I just wanted to do a quick introduction for today's interview. Upcoming, we're going to have Erin Murany, and she is the owner and sole proprietor of the Modern Alchemy Lab. She makes all kinds of really cool skin products, bath bombs, all kinds of stuff. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Hey everybody, I am here with Erin Murany, and she is the owner and I guess entrepreneur slash creator of the Modern Alchemy Lab. And I will kind of let her tell you a little bit about what her company does. It's really pretty cool. Pretty much, I know, Erin, you make bath bombs, but what else do you do and what does your brand encompass? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, I've actually been doing cosmetic formulation for like 16 years.
Wow.
So I've kind of dabbled in a lot of different things. I mean, honestly, if you can think of it, I can probably make it for you. And honestly, just because I don't have it like in stock or you don't see me posting about it on Facebook or Instagram, like I can probably make it for you. But I mean, I make bubble bombs, bath bombs, lotion, hair styling clay, beard oil, facial serum, facial masks, sugar scrubs, lip balms, pretty much pretty wide variety. I mean, I can make soap. I don't, mostly because there's a lot of people in town that do a really great job of it, and
Right.
I've just focused on what brings me joy. So
Yeah, no, I think that's important because if we don't like what we're doing, then
yeah.
it's kind of pointless. So how did you get started in all that? Like, what sparked your interest?
My one of my first jobs was for my best friend's mom. She was a cancer survivor, and
Oh,
when she was going through chemo, she actually she started formulating in the kitchen with facial products, skin products that basically she was looking for a way to make her skin look better so she would feel better.
right.
Um, because obviously chemo damages everything. I mean,
Yeah.
so far reaching. And she stumbled across this recipe that was fabulous. Like, it's one of the best things I've ever put on my face. But she started a business out of it, out of
Right.
her, literally her kitchen, and her the underlying idea behind it all was to help people feel better. I mean, it's kind of silly to think that, skincare helps you feel better. It sounds frivolous, but it's
No, it's important.
a difference when you're fighting, basically fighting for your life.
Yeah.
Um, Give you more will to go on, so at least one thing isn't messed up.
It's like the little things
Right,
instead of, you've got this big thing,
right,
but her product that she made was able to make her feel a little better in
right.
a small way.
Yeah. So um, her company was, I worked for her, did a bunch of different jobs, started in like shipping and packing, and everything she had me send out was packaged like a gift.
Right.
And even if it was just a free sample we were sending to a customer, like it was something somebody could be happy about receiving and bring a little bit of joy in their life. And her customer service and the way she, yes, my love. A what? A haircut? Maybe, buddy. Maybe. We'll talk about it after my meeting, okay? You see Miss Amy? Say hi, Miss Amy.
Hi, buddy.
Do you miss Will? Yeah, we're gonna have to play soon. Can I
Yes.
get to my meeting? It won't be very long, okay? Okay. Crystal, I love you. Just so I learned so much about do I want the food that has red food? Okay, we'll see. Okay. I learned so much about customer service and what was important in the business, making those connections with your customers. And
Right.
I mean, if you give a person a reason to trust you, like you kind of become part of their life. And that
Right.
was so amazing to me. And so that was kind of what sparked my initial interest in skincare and customer service ultimately. Um,
Awesome.
so,
Um, so Erin, when you first started your business, was it something like you intentionally set out, you said, I'm going to start a business, or was it like a hobby that kind of turned into a business? Or kind of explain to me what the process looked like for how that changed.
well, for about the last 16 years, I mean, I was a teenager when I worked for my friend's mom, but when I was in college, um, I really started experimenting on my own. And the first time I successfully made lotion, I decided that like I wanted to make a business out of this. Like I
Sure.
wanted to do this. But between then and last year, when I actually started my business, it was either I had the time but not the money, or I had the money and not the time.
Right.
And last year, I made bath bombs for my mother-in-law for her birthday. And my sister-in-law was kind of in disbelief that I just made it. I was like, I just made bath bombs. And so I told her, I was like, if you spend the night, I can show you, like,
Sure.
I did it. And so I did, and she's just like, what? And we got to talking, and I, kind of told her this idea that I had, like, I wanted to start a business selling bath and body products.
Right.
But I also wanted to provide, with my lab parties, a way for people to spend quality time together,
Right.
screen-free, really connecting with each other and learning something new, because it's just, I mean, it's such a cool feeling to be able to teach something new to somebody that you're
Mm-hmm.
about.
Yeah.
And I see so many people, even with their kids, like phone is constantly in hand, and
Sure.
when you're elbow deep in bath bomb batter, it's hard to
Yeah.
be on your phone. So
Yeah.
I felt that was going to be an important part of my business, and I was explaining that to her. She's like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And she kind of lit a fire under my butt to actually go on and do it.
Yeah.
And the last few years have been challenging financially, and I mean, constant, like so many different loss
Right.
of incomes. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I committed, and October 1st last year was my first ever sale. And I guess you would say for the last 16 years, it's been a hobby, but
Sure.
with the intent at some point, I really wanted to make it a business.
Gotcha.
So
That's, yeah, full disclosure, I took a bath, like everybody watching, I took a bath bomb class, and it really is, you cannot pick up your phone because you're like covered in stuff, but it's so fun to get your hands in there and just do it. I remember you talking about your bath bombs being special in terms of like the stuff that's in them, the stuff that's not in them, like they don't stain your bathtub. Kind of give us a little rundown about like your main core product of the bath bomb.
So basically, I mean, the bottom line throughout all of my products is if it doesn't need to be in the product, if it doesn't make it better in some way, it's not in my products. You won't find it. So
Sure.
my bath bombs, a lot of people I know, like companies like Lush and stuff like that, they're so pretty. Obviously, you look at them and you want
Right.
them dissolve, and all the colors are great, but it stains. I mean, it'll stain your skin, it'll stain your tub. For me, with like, I call them my ride or die bath bombs, like my everyday bath bombs.
Sure.
They are white, all of them, because I don't feel like you need colors. Because when you use colors, I also use polysorbate, which is an emulsifier. basically binds the colorant to the water, or oils to the water.
Sure.
So when the water goes down the drain, it's going down the drain with the water, as
Gotcha.
opposed to just floating on the surface, leaving a ring around your tub.
Right.
So basically, I mean, it's just literally cornstarch, baking powder, and citric acid. And I use the I use the cornstarch to slow the reaction between the baking
Gotcha.
and citric acid. So it fizzes longer
Gotcha.
than if you just use the citric acid and baking soda. And
Gotcha.
then my fragrances are all phthalate free. Phthalates have been shown to disrupt the endocrine system, which is why so many people shy away from what they consider synthetic fragrances. I get a lot of flack about, not using natural fragrances, essential oils and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But when you bring essential oils into the mix, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe for everybody to use.
That makes sense, because I know one of my big hangups about, and we talked about this, one of my big hangups about skin products is that there's so much in them that can cause irritation, or it can, some people are more susceptible to certain oils. Right. And so I think that's one of the things that drew me to your product and what you were doing. So that's really interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to be out at a market, asking people personal questions like what kind of health problems they're experiencing, what kind of medication they're taking, because all of that can react to different kinds of essential oils, and I don't want to take that risk.
That makes sense.
The synthetic fragrances that I do use are safe.
Sure.
I only use fragrances from one particular company that I trust. They went so far as to reformulate all of their fragrance line, like everything. I mean, hundreds of different fragrances. They reformulated them to get rid of phthalates when it became a big thing that it was shown they were causing problems. So the fact that they were willing and able to do that, I 100% trust them to create a product that I can use safely.
That's interesting.
My big goal is to make it easier for my customers to know what they're putting on their body when they buy products from me. I don't want them to think I'm being sneaky.
Sure.
Question about a particular ingredient and why it's being used, I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have particular concerns, like a lotion that I recently made to address kind of like eczema type skin problems, I sold a bottle to one of my friends, and it turns out she's allergic to avocados, which avocado oil is one of my ingredients in that particular product. So I was able to reformulate with a different ingredient to
right. So it's a very custom experience for your product.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things that I'm changing subject. Sorry. One of the things I really love about what you do is you have a very, very strong, brand message. And, having only been in business, and I don't mean only, but having been in business for, less than 5 years, like you have a very good direction for your branding. For somebody who's kind of thinking about trying to do something like this, what would be your advice for them in terms of branding? You got any little tidbits that you can kind of share?
One big thing is consistency. Being consistent throughout your voice, how you sound when you write posts or make videos.
Sure.
Through everything, visually, you have to decide like how you want other people to see you. There was a TED Talk, and I can't remember. Let me double check. It is Simon Sinek
Yes.
did a talk, and it's called like how leaders, I can't remember the exact title of it, but he basically introduces the concept of the golden circle. And what it boils down to is people don't buy what you're making, what you're selling, they buy the why. Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like very successful brands that have like fierce loyalty throughout their customers, it's not because, you know, their product is really better necessarily than other companies. It's because they've built their customer base around an idea, because
Right.
beliefs are what drive action, what drive behavior. So if you sell to people who believe the things that you believe,
Sure.
that's how you get them to actually do what you want them to do. And I don't mean to say that in a manipulative way.
No, people are buying the product, but they're also buying the story behind the product.
Right, exactly.
And I think that that's something that a lot of people, when they get started out, I'm going to put this product out there and people are going to buy it because it's a product. And I think the thing that we have to remember is that there are so many products in the world. What differentiates your product, whether it be
Right.
bath bombs or tennis shoes or
Right.
computers, like what differentiates your product from someone else's product? And I think that's the message or the story that you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, like, I could have, in the last 16 years, I could have easily just been like, I can make it. I'm just going to put it out there and it's a great product. It doesn't matter how I frame it or package it. Like, people are going to buy it because it's a great product. But if you look at what you might be willing to spend on something at, say, like a craft fair,
Mm-hmm.
or like a farmer's market, and what you might be willing to spend at a store, say like Sephora.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
There's people that are willing to spend $60 to $120+ on
Right.
a cleanser, but at a farmer's market, are you really going to spend that?
Right.
Because what you have to show, you put the effort behind your product, not just that you made it. Like, anybody can put a product out there.
Yeah.
But not everybody can really make it look professional. Like, you're not just doing it as a hobby. Like, the Modern Alchemy isn't a side hustle. This is my hustle.
Yeah.
This is how, you know, we put food on the table. It's not our sole income, but it's gotten us through. And
Sure.
it's, you got to take it seriously. If you really want to do it, you need to think about what your product is going to look like when somebody puts it on the shelf, or how you display it makes a big difference in how people see you as a company.
So it's important, I guess, kind of what you're saying is it's important to identify who you want your target customer to be, and then formulate your marketing to that customer based on the type of product that you're providing, because you're not providing a cheap product by any means.
Right.
Your product is a high quality product. And so if you're not marketing to that right target, you're not going to make sales. So that kind of leads me into the next thing, which we've kind of sort of talked about, outside of this, but COVID. A lot of your stuff is in person. How have you been able to have you had to pivot? Like, what have you done to make your company, make your product more accessible to people?
Well, initially, if I'm being honest, I kind of went in hibernation mode. Not because necessarily, I mean, obviously part of it was because my events got canceled.
Sure.
even like I stopped advertising. I'd stopped with my social media for the most part, because I saw so many businesses out there were struggling, and I saw how the community was rallying around them to try to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that my husband was blessed to be working, even though things got kind of sketchy there for a while. We've been so used to struggling financially that like this didn't put a huge dent in our finances. I mean, any more than the last few years have. So like we could make it. And I knew there's businesses out there that couldn't.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like it was right for me to put myself out there, my business, and maybe not logical, but like taking money out of people's pockets that they could be spending and supporting businesses that are, they have employees that are trying to support employees and stuff like that. So I put the lab on pause for a bit. When I was still like, if customers came to me, something, I took care of them, and all that. But when I did start production back up, I started offering things like porch pickup. So, I'd have things out on my porch, sanitize them before I left them out there, and they'd come pick it up, or I could take it to them and leave it on their porch. So that's really the only thing that I could do, because I've still been working. I don't have my website up, but it should be next week or two. So that it's been hard to find the motivation to really get back into it when such a huge part of my business was
the people part.
So I've been mostly pouring my energy into getting my website right, make sure it reflects what I need it to. Because like I said, like anybody can throw together a website, anybody can put together a product, but I need it to reflect who I am as a company, not, for the sake of getting a line where people can be placing orders. So
no, it makes sense. Like you want to make sure that everything's in alignment before you hit the go button. And I totally get that. So do you feel like you had a couple events kind of that you've started doing again, or have those things kind of picked back up at all, or?
So I recently did a lab party at Ronin. They've been pretty good about, like, on their less busy days, offering their side room for myself and some other local businesses to be able to do events like we do. Like, my good friend with Atlas Bell, she does doormat painting parties and stuff like that. And great that people have been willing to open their doors to something like that. But, we do, try to keep space between everybody wears masks, and all of the, like I provide eye protection and stuff like that. Everything is sanitized. But I'm really looking forward to events starting back up. My winter is booking up quickly. I just got an email last night about two of the locals starting back up today. So I'll be out there this afternoon. So it's looking up, and I think as people understand, like, I mean, we kind of adapt to all sorts of viruses and diseases, and I think this has just been like a learning process of, we really need to remember, we need to wash our hands, we need to stop touching everything and getting so close to people. And so as we've been learning all that, I think things will start not really getting back to normal, because I'm not going to use the phrase new normal, but things changed.
Yeah.
And I think we're learning to adapt.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. I like people's not being like right up against my back when I'm at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
I
think
hope that sticks around.
one of the things that I've really that I've liked a lot about, not liked, but there's been things that have happened, right, as a result of the COVID thing. And I think one of the things is watching all of the small business owners kind of like come together and support each other and push each other and do things in conjunction with each other. And um, I I think it kind of, in a weird way, you know, there's a lot of separation right now with people and ideas and things, but I think it's also kind of brought people together and made people realize like we're all just trying to get through it, and we have to kind of build each other up. Do you ever feel like being, I mean, I guess because you're in cosmetic formulation kind of stuff, like has being a woman in business ever been a roadblock for you, or do you feel like kind of, I don't know, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to share?
Honestly, I think the biggest roadblock for me comes internally because of, I guess you would call it social conditioning.
Sure.
Like just at the beginning when I first started, like just saying I make bath and body products just sounded so weak.
Yeah, I see
wouldn't
what
be
you're saying.
taken
I don't agree with
seriously.
you, but I see what you're saying.
Right, like I was scared that I wouldn't be taken seriously because, you know, people see stuff like that as frivolous, and
Sure.
the whole stigma of like arts and crafts and
Right.
and being an artist in general, like your work isn't valued as much as other people. And I remember going to this event that there was a bunch of, you know, business owners, and I was the only female business owner in there, and they're all talking about their super important businesses and what they do, and they're so confident that what they do is important. And, you know, I was just so intimidated, which is not normal for me.
Right.
Like,
You intimidated?
Erin in real life, like just like my life, like I'm not.
Right.
I'm pretty assertive. Sometimes can be aggressive, but business Erin was very unsure, very timid about how important my work is.
Right.
Like, I was afraid other people wouldn't see what I do as important,
right,
or take me seriously. And I think that comes from, you know, what we've learned as women.
Sure.
It's frivolous. It's, why would anybody care about what you do? Why would anybody think it's important?
Yeah.
But
I think it's important though to kind of go back to that first story you told though about your friend's mom and like the cancer thing. Like she was able to make something for herself that made herself feel good.
Yeah.
And you know, so I think that's why I think that's something I struggle with is my story. Like why should someone, you know, trust me? And then I have to go back and remind myself, like, I'm sure you remind yourself that you're doing good things for people and you're helping people. And I think it's hard sometimes because you're right that typically we are kind of told that those things are less important.
Right.
But I'm glad that you pulled a seat up to the table and that you're doing the thing. Is there anything that you wish you could tell yourself? I mean, even just last year, like from then till now, like, could you tell Erin from then something, or maybe even Erin from 16 years ago, Erin?
Two things. From when I was just starting out is, I would tell myself what I do is important, and not everybody is your customer, and that's okay. I have a valuable message, and I provide valuable products to people that really make a difference in their life, even if it's just a, you know, superficial difference. It helps if I help somebody relax at the end of a long day, a mom who's been struggling all day with kids constantly needing things, and a husband that's constantly needing things, and a house that constantly has things on, for her to be able to escape, or him able to escape for a moment and do something that only benefits them.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. But to remind myself that what I do is important, and I don't need to worry about, the people that scoff at me for, not using essential oils, or, whatever the case may be. Is like,
Sure.
not everybody has to like you. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. No, that's me. So what was the second thing?
Well, what I do is important. Those are two things.
Oh, those are the two things. Got it. Okay.
Those are the two things. But
they all kind of went together. So
16 years ago, I would have told her, you're never going to be in the perfect place to do anything. I mean, people wait until they're ready to have kids. It's like, but then you have kids and like it changes your.
Still not ready.
You didn't anticipate. It's like nobody is really
right.
If you keep waiting for the perfect opportunity, you're going to end up spending 16 years.
Yeah.
Not doing something that will really bring a lot of joy to you.
Right.
So sometimes it's just, when I started the business, it wasn't an optimum time for me to do it.
Right.
But I did it, and I took a chance, and it's paid off.
Yeah. I think you're with everything that's happened in the past year, like you've obviously done pretty well. So you're getting there. Is there anything that you feel like we didn't cover about your business that you kind of wanted to talk about? Because I'm going to include links and stuff to all of your social media. So if people want to talk to you about scheduling parties and stuff like that, that's going to be in, in the info about the post. But
well, just I would want people to understand, like, literally everything I do is by hand. I formulate my own products. I measure, I mix, I press, I mold, package, label. Everything is done by hand.
Sure.
So, and that's all time that I'm not spending with my family. So if you take all that into account, like, if you think, and not just for my business, but for businesses in general, like, everybody wants a deal, obviously.
Right.
But it's so important to understand that when people are creating something like that, or providing a service, like, their time is valuable, and only be looking for a deal, like, you're kind of hurting your community, because there's small people like me. Like, I can't afford to order, drums of oils or whatever products I'm using to be able to create a less expensive product. But you can be 100% confident that what I make has 16 years of formulation experience behind it, to make sure that it's effective, to make sure that it's safe. And if you have a problem, you can come to me, and I'll do everything that I can to fix it.
Sure.
If you have a concern that you're experiencing that you need help with, talk to me. I might come up with something to try to help you.
Yeah.
Everything I do is customizable. Sure. And that includes my lab parties. We can, if there's a particular product you've wanted to learn, even if it's just a one-on-one, like, I can help. So
that's awesome.
Just reach out and we can chat.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, I really appreciate your time, and go play with the kiddos, and have a great rest of your day. And I will talk to you later.
Alrighty.